Hello. In this video, I want to briefly explain the disagreement between conflictual and consensual theories of power, and I want to suggest that this disagreement really reflects a fundamental tension in how we think about social power. So conflictual theories conceive of power as a robust capacity that can be used to secure compliance from other agents by overcoming or averting their opposition. Right? So in that sense, it conceives of power as a capacity that can be used to prevail in conflict. Now, while this seems like a straightforward and plausible idea, one major problem with conflictual theories is that they often take power's robustness to be more or less a given, right? Without explaining how this robustness could come about if power is socially constituted. Consensual theories, in contrast, take the social constitution of power as their starting point. Right? So one obvious example of this is Hannah Arendt's view. Right? Arendt conceives power as the human ability to act in concert. Right? So for her, power is based on a kind of collective ability to coordinate our actions around shared values, goals, or rules. So very broadly, consensual theories take power to be constituted by some form of social cooperation, right? Though they might disagree about what form this kind of cooperation takes. But consensual theories, in turn, are criticized for failing to take into account, for failing to account for the use of power to coerce, to exploit, to manipulate, etc. Right? That is, to account for power's role in social conflict. It seems that consensual theories would need to explain how social cooperation could be robust enough to persist in the case of conflict, and it's not quite clear how they can do that. So this kind of major disagreement among theories of power, I think, mirrors a more general tension in how we think about power. Right? So broadly, we may think of power as the ability of an agent to have a reliable effect on other agents' actions or their dispositions to act. So power, in this sense, we think is essentially social in nature, right? So the kind of power that social and political scientists and theorists are interested in, power is an ability that somebody has not simply in virtue of her kind of physiological or psychological features, but in virtue of her social positions, right? So an agent's power always depends on other agents whose actions have to be suitably aligned with hers, to use a formulation by Thomas Wartenberg. Now this may seem uncontroversial, but it seems to be at odds with the robust character that we usually associate with power, right? So we also imagine power as a robust causal capacity to affect the actions of others in a wide range of cases, and most importantly in the face of resistance. So if power is socially constituted, right, what that would mean is that we need a more or less stable alignment of agents who are disposed to act appropriately in a wide range of situations, right, even in situations where that might be against their own interest. But if we think of power as socially constituted, then we recognize that social alignments, right, are not static, right? They involve ongoing relationships that have to be continuously reproduced, and this reproduction will likely be subject to negotiation and struggle. So by focusing on the social and thus dynamic nature of power, we make power seem rather precarious, right? That is, as a site of conflict rather than something that can be used to prevail in it. So conflictual and consensual theories of power each take as their starting point one of these aspects of how we think about power. Each of them seems to be plausible, and yet what we end up with is two kind of conflicting kinds of ontologies. So in the main video, I develop an ontology of power that helps us better make sense of this tension.